by Matthew A. Oh God, I've got tongue tied already. We'll just say Matthew. So our F3 Championship points leader. So welcome to the broadcast, mate. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling a little nervous. First time commentating, but I'm sure it'll be a joy today.
So we've got currently 6 people, excluding ourselves. So 4 people on the grid at the moment. We're just waiting for everyone to now start making their way into the lobby so that we can get the championship race underway. A few people are on and just plain being ignorant, but we won't go into that too much. So just talking about while we wait for that to happen, we'll have a bit of a chat with you about your race yesterday. Of course, it didn't quite go the way you wanted to in the end, and unfortunately it ended up with you in the fence on the last lap, but still managed to record a P4 finish, which would cement your championship lead over Eric Stuyvesant, who had a bit of an unfortunate altercation with his own teammate that would put him in a position that would later see him out of the race. So how do you think about your season so far?
I would have to say it's a lot of ups and downs. I feel like I run some good races, but don't finish it off. Kind of like yesterday. Yesterday I started off kind of bad, dropped all the way to the back, started making my way up, just dodging traffic, all those accidents. Then coming onto the main straight, put it right in the wall. But this is my first time trying to be competitive in racing games. I haven't really been in racing games that often, since maybe Gran Turismo 2 on PS1.
That is a long time.
Yeah, I'm just starting to get back into it. Got my first pedal set and steering wheel, so it's been a learning experience. But I feel like I get better and better.
Oh well, we can honestly say that you are, and we're quite impressed with your commitment, your contribution, and your consistency as well. So we do appreciate that, and of course it is showing in the results. Canada, unfortunately, could have seen you lose your championship lead, but you were lucky enough that your nearest rival also put themselves out of commission. It would have been the same sort of story today too, had it been for a few different circumstances. So to survive as long as you did was quite an incredible feat, and it means that you go to and it does mean you go into Austria with a bit more points on your hands than you did, say, coming into Azerbaijan, that thing. So with you completed on Azerbaijan, and then you move to the next round, which is Austria. What's the state of play? Do you kind of focus on waiting till everyone else has finished the weekend, then start focus on Austria, or you spend time after this doing practice for Austria and preparations for next weekend?
I would say probably tomorrow I'll start putting in time on Austria, and whenever I have time available during the week without work and other obligations, then we'll jump on and try to get some practice in.
Well, we're just starting to get an influx of drivers start to make their way in now at the moment. So we'll just have a look and see who we've got. So we've got Jules van der Brug, Matthias Vicelli, Nadir Ziyat, Melvin Stabaka, Adam Bidbell, Mark Trisandi, John Lindberg, and Daniel Vale. The top 2 on the top of the lobby are our top 2 championship contenders. Still no sign of our usual suspects of Alex Little, Mackenzie Stewart, and Mason Ward. Now, we believe, and this is a very high conjectured belief, that Mackenzie Stewart may not be attending today. We believe he's going to be a little hung over by some reason. It's hard to explain, but yeah, Mackenzie opting to go out on the piss, and it's ended up costing him a little bit. Now, I'm actually tempted to almost bring Stanley in for a demo run today to try and get him motivated into joining F1 as a double duty situation. How much of the F1 and F2 would you say that you watch when you're not racing, Matt? Are you quite frequent on it, or do you just watch it when it's there, or?
I try to catch them when they're live. If not, I'll try to watch it a couple hours later.
So, how much of the F1 would you know?
Like the actual F1?
Well, this F1, our F1 community here.
This F1? Pretty good.
So,
I know Daniel's been doing very well. His pace on harder compounds is pretty impressive.
and that's the thing, and that's one of the things that I've always had to try and, kind of take into perspective, and I keep forgetting because he does tend to do qualifying on the hardest compound, either the hardest compound or one of the hardest compounds, which then, he sets a lap that's a bit slower than everyone else, and you go, oh, hang on, he's going to struggle here, and then someone will go, oh no, have a look at the tyres he's on, so I'm going to hopefully not make that mistake today, and we'll be able to see what his lap on the Ultras yesterday was quite... just having a read through the... Wait a minute. Okay, that could be interesting. I'm just going to have a quick look at things. This could be interesting. Anyway, got a few more people starting to make their way in.
Yeah, I just read a comment on Discord about me being a little too quiet, so I gotta adjust my...
Yeah, that shouldn't be too hard to do. Oh. Anyway, so it looks like we've got our two other drivers in, but Joshua Law is in also, so that should leave us with only two drivers. Actually, no, that leaves us with the full grid for today, so we're actually good to go. So I'll just get you to ready up on the spectator slot, Matt, and then, yep, so we're all good to go. So 12 drivers will be tackling.
I've got a friend that's in Paris at the moment.
So yeah, 12 drivers are going to tackle the tight, twisty, narrow streets of Azerbaijan.
France is a beautiful country ruined by the French.
Sorry, I just heard a joke in the background. Hopefully all you French viewers did not hear that. Anyway, so Matt, how would you describe Azerbaijan if you were to describe it in 3 words?
Power is required.
Power is required. So, I've had so many different people give me so many different views on it. Guy Tasker explained powerful, dangerous, and tight. So, at the end of the day, the same things are... Yeah, so no Mackenzie Stewart. He's obviously not well enough to attend the race. Oh, no, he isn't. Okay, Mackenzie did get in at the last minute, so that's caught a lot of people off guard. There's actually someone... 2, 4, 6, 8, 10... Oh, no, there is 12 people, so everyone's in, apart from the ones who said they weren't going to make it, so... Anyway, so here we are ready for qualifying for today's Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Beautiful sunset conditions here. considered one of the windiest cities in the world, Azerbaijan.
Are we talking to now?
I don't know, I'm trying to pinpoint that on the stream. Anyway, sorry, there's background stuff going on around me. I don't usually have an audience, but today I do, so... shut up. Anyway, so nobody's decided to go out early. Everyone's just building up their setups and everything. So yeah, very surprising to see Mackenzie come in to the lobby. We were halfway expecting him to not actually be there, and that's what actually makes our 12 drivers. So, going by your knowledge of F1, who do you think is going to take pole position today? Well, we're going to actually check that out now, so I'm just going to switch the thing to the best tyres fitting. So we've got Eddie Bettenbauer, who's the first driver on track in the Toro Rosso Honda, who's on the Ultra Soft, as is John Lindberger's former teammate. Mackenzie Stewart's also on the Ultra Soft, as is Melvin Stabaka. Nadir Ziyat, Daniel Vale's teammate, is on the Super Soft tyres. Mason Ward is in the Ultra Soft tyres. Then you've got Alex Little, Joshua Law, Daniel Vale, Matthias Ficelli, all on the soft tyre. So they're going for a very different strategy here. So they're all looking to do the longer stint first, and then maybe blast out the ultras at the end. And then Georges van der Brugge and Mark Strasandi both on the ultra soft tyres as well. So we're watching Matthias here, who's the first driver to be on track and is going to be the first driver to set us a benchmark time. So looking at the times from the last race we had, which was F3 yesterday, the fastest time on the super soft tyres was a 1 minute 38.5 set by Daniel Vale himself, to which he would then convert into a 37.1 at on the ultras. So we'll see what kind of times Daniel can set on the soft tyres. We'll see first with Matthias Ficelli, the Argentinian, who's tasted success on street circuits before. Last season he was able to rack up a first race win at the Monaco Grand Prix back in the GP2 era, which was pretty much what F2 is now, and also took a commanding win in the wet conditions at Russia. So he's been considered the wet rainmaster for F1. Hasn't quite had the season he would have liked. He's fraught with crashes and incidences. No internet connection issues this season, so that's a good sign for one part. But yeah, he has been criticised a little bit about his finishing rate, but he has been finishing races. He's been a bit disappointed with where he's been finishing, but he knows now that with his future lying in the hands of Ferrari for the next half of the season as well as seasons onwards, I'm sure he'll be able to take his confidence into Ferrari and make good things happen. So going through the second sector, a bit ragged coming out of the what I call the last turn, because these corners here are just kinks. So he's doing not too bad. He's just hitting to the point. They reckon that you should be, if you want a good lap, you should be about in the 1 minute 30s by the time you hit the DRS. So he's going to come across the line now. He's going to set a 1 minute 39.6 on the soft tyre. That is actually quite a good time. And that'll take a bit of beating, I think, in the first run. So Georges van der Brugge, of course, will go to the top on a 38.4, but that's only because he's on the ultras. And actually, Matthias has just gone off in the escape road of turn 2. You'll want to be careful there. And oh, we've got an incident. We've got a crasher. Mason Ward has crashed somewhere. I can't exactly see where it is though. Oh, just as I watched that, just on board with Alex Little as he gave the castle section a royal belting. So, oh, hang on, I think I just caught sight of him. I don't know, it's just a feature that thing needs a Codemaster still needs to fix. So John Lindberg's moved up to position 2. on ultras as well, but behind George van der Brug, and Eddie Bettenbauer has actually outqualified his teammate by 0.3 of a second on ultra soft tyre. So for Matthias to be only 0.3 slower than his teammate on the slowest compound, that is pretty good. But of course, we're waiting to see who, our qualifying king Daniel Vale set something magical here now. He's just starting his flying lap now, so I'm just going to ride on board with him and have a look and see how he approaches the circuit. So this part here is my favourite turn 5 and 6. You just got to get, and he's actually got it really beautiful. He's actually managed to avoid the curb, and usually when you avoid the curb, that means you're going to have a bit of a tardy exit. Now there's another incident in sector 2, but we'll keep on board with this unless it's an actual DNF situation. So different strategies compounding this race so much. So you've got one Mercedes of Mackenzie Stewart on the ultra soft tyre, and then you've got the second one on the soft tyre. So different strategies compounding different means, and it's going to be an interesting case of who does the better strategy here today, because the tyres do cop a pounding here at Azerbaijan, as does the fuel. So fuel management, tyre management, ERS management is going to be super critical around these tight twisty streets of Azerbaijan. Now Daniel Vale looks to be quite well positioned here, and this could actually be quite a threatening time. Oh, he's just given the outside wall heading into the fast last right-hander a bit of a kiss there, and I think that might have hurt him a little bit. But we'll just see as he now blazes down. He's actually aborting. Yep, so he's aborting the lap, so I don't think he feels confident about the super soft, or the soft tyres pace at the moment. So here comes Mackenzie Stewart. He's also on the softs actually, so a tyre glitch here. Mackenzie jumps up to position 4 on a 39.5, so he's only a tenth faster than Matthias on the soft tyre. But that's interesting. So, oh, I see why, because I've got the thing set to the best. So here we go. So now we've got the fitted. So Alex Little has now changed his mind, and he's coming out on the super soft tyre. So Matt, who do you think's standing out so far? He's definitely showing a bit of... go on. It is one of the fastest times we've seen all weekend. So it is only marginally a tenth faster than what Daniel Vale was able to pull out in yesterday's F3 qualifying. Actually, just as an F3 driver yourself, do you find that the invitational system might be a little flawed for F3, even though, you know, we do want to try and give every category a fair chance, but do you find it as a challenge, or do you find it a little disadvantaging that you have to race against the likes of Daniel Vale and all that? And I fully back that decision too. Of course, we are just doing it until we can get a lot more F3 drivers that we can actually run even if it ends up being just a 10 car field, as long as we can run it, that's fine. People in the comment section below, I'd like for you guys to share your input on that as well, whether F3 should be as it is now, or should we just continue to run just the F3 drivers, even if it is going to be like a 4 or 5 car grid every weekend until we get more members to fill the grid. So hashtag ask Bretty, hashtag ask Bretty for any information. Okay, so according to the people in the thing, you don't have your share voice thing on, so I'll tell you what to do. So you go into the party chat. I'll just do it now, so bear with me on the thing. So you go to party settings, and then go to chat audio. Allow your voice to be shared and put it on always allow, because apparently no one can hear you. Anyway, so we'll go back to... so did you catch all that, Matt?
Yep.
Okay. So hopefully that'll fix up in a minute. And George van der Brug, as that all happening, just gave the castle section a 1-2 buckle my shoe. obviously doesn't like the castle section very much and expressed his disinterest in it. Very ragged lap at the moment, but it does. Let's have a look at the sector splits. It's 34.8 into sector 2, so it's not too bad, but I would imagine that he would be wanting to have a lot less contact with the wall, because that doesn't exactly... And Alex Little now to the top with a 1 minute 38.41, so only 8/100ths of a second slower or faster, and then Jaws responds with a 37.9. So that's the fastest time we've seen all weekend on the super soft tyres. So now it's coming to that critical moment where drivers need to start using the other compound tyre if they want to get onto the top. Now Daniel Vale, coincidentally, is actually running again on the soft tyre, so I would have thought he was going to change his strategy and go back to the super softs, because that was obviously where he was looking the strongest. But right now, he's looking to try and do a set on the thing. He's about a second off, and John Lindbergh to the top now with a 37.97, 2/100ths of a second faster. So the times are starting to tumble, and this is still... Oh no, this was on the ultra soft, so John's actually set the time on the ultras, trying to look to be the first driver this season to go 3 from 3. Of course, we had a driver last season that could do more than that, but we don't like to register him as anything in that regard. So Daniel Vale's now moved up to position 4 with a 138.8 on the soft tyre, so that's definitely a lot quicker than what Matthias was able to pull out on the soft tyre. And we've got a few things going on in Discord at the moment, so we're just going to have a look through. There's a few apologies, but nothing else. Alright, so Matt, you think you've got your audio thing sorted out?
I think I do.
Alright, so if Matt will give you a chance to have a chat or have a run of a lap somewhere and just have your thoughts on something, and if you guys can hear us, let us know. If not, then we'll figure it out again. So, all right. So Matt, who do you think's struggling at the moment to find some pace?
I want to say John Lindbergh. I mean, he's at the top time, but he's only what,
100. Yeah.
It's going to be tough. He's going to have to pit a lot sooner. Just give George a lot of time to get away.
Now, actually, interestingly, George is actually going to come back out on the ultra soft tyre. So, in fact, everyone's going to be coming out on the ultra soft tyre. So I wonder if they're changing their strategy plan, or they're just going to try and make everyone... Okay, so we can hear him, but his volume is pretty low, so I'd say just crank your thing all the way up to full. Okay, so we're just trying to see who... Mackenzie Stewart's definitely down the order, and I'm sure he'll be wanting to do more for it. He's only set at 139.5, so he now jumps up to P4 with a 138.5, so he makes up a second in that space, but he's still behind his teammate, crucially. There's so much yellow flags going on in Sector 3, it's kind of hard to try and pinpoint anything. So actually, we've lost Nadir Ziyat somewhere through all this, and he's actually done pretty well in his qualifying stanzas. He's currently P7 at the moment, so he's kind of answering to the critics that, you know, people have been saying that he's not as quick as his teammate. He's always at the back. He needs to be kind of put into perspective, and he's responding now to the critics. He's faster than Melvin March, Matthias, and Joshua Law. So definitely standout qualifier in my opinion is Eddie Bettenbauer, currently P5 in the second of the Toro Rosso. So he's starting to adapt to his his grassroots of no assists. Now, Daniel's finally taking the incentive and has now jumped onto the super soft tyres to put out a lap. And a special shout out to Stefan Naumburger, who is apparently joining us in the spectator stands. So Stefan Naumburger, wherever you are, welcome back from the Trans Nation Formula One World Championship Committee and the commentators. Also a special shout out to a special someone sitting next to me in the comm box. Not you, Matt. You are special, but my partner, of course, who's sitting here watching for the first time, so her first live experience. So big shout out to her and thanks for the support. So let's see what Daniel Vale can do on these super soft tyres. So currently when you look at the state of play, every driver pretty much, apart from John Lindbergh, have set their fastest representative times on the super soft tyres. There are a few drivers right now coming out to try and set times on the other tyre. Jules van der Brugge is out on another set of, has come out on a set of ultra softs. But it's interesting to see why George would do this. He's got a front row start and he's going to start on the super soft tyre. That sounds to me like the better strategy. I would rather start on this front row with the super soft tyre and then just hang behind the leader if I have to, wait till he pits and then start stretching my legs. I would not be now coming out onto another set of coming out on a fresher set. Oh, a huge crash here. Just managed to catch sight of Joshua Law getting very loose at the edge of turn 1, and he's actually just now he's going to be in trouble for that one. So he has broken qualifying conduct rule number 1.4.2. Luckily, he's managed to actually pull the car. AI has managed to pull his car off the track and into the escape road, so he won't receive a reprimand. He will probably more likely receive a reprimand for that more than anything. Of course, the rule of 1.4.2 in the qualifying conduct, and this is one that I've actually had to memorise quite a bit because it's happening quite frequently. All drivers must not retire on the track. So, I mean, if you crash, that's a different circumstance. Of course, if you're gonna crash, you can't help it, but you can't just retire, pause the game, and then select retire from the session, and then do that. You have to go in the pit lane and do it there. Now, Mackenzie's backed off, so he's P4. Alex is backed off, he's P3, and well, effectively at the moment. At the moment, with the amount of drivers on track at the moment, the worst they can do is 8th, 7th and 8th. So, Jaws is actually going on. This is interesting. Jaws is going on with this. What were you about to say there, Matt?
Daniel's going to set a pretty good time here.
Oh, he does. He sets a 1 minute 37.6 on the supers. So that's a strategy game changer. Daniel's just looking to... Because, of course, he and John now sit tied on the championship points table. So the championship contenders are about to duke it out on the front row of the grid. And we've got another special guest. The mascot has turned up, so... Hello to the Trans Nation Formula One mascot. Enjoy your stay. So, John could respond to this, and if it does, we're going to have a classic Ferrari versus Red Bull thing, what we haven't seen for many, many years. 2013 would have been the last time we saw Ferrari and Red Bull fighting it out for the front. Of course, Jules van der Brugge has still got to cross the line. Nope, he's backed out, so he's doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. And that was do an observation lap and then box before he set a time so he doesn't have to start on those ultras. Now, here comes John Lindbergh. Is he going to respond with the fastest time? Yes, he does. So he pulls out a 1 minute 37.4 to be 2/10 quicker, but again, has to resort to the ultra soft to do it. So John... not overly confident about his pace on the harder compound, and has to resort to a two-stop strategy where the likes of Daniel Vale, Jules van der Brugge, and all that can now attempt a one-stop to the end. Now, every driver, Matthias Vicelli and Joshua Law, are the only two drivers that have now set a time on the soft tyres. So they'll have a longer a longer stretch than the rest of the field, but they're further down the order, so... Well, let's discuss this. I would love to see your registration to the Transnation Formula 1 World Championship, and I'd love to have you. So, anyway, that's our qualifying results for today's Transnation Formula 1 F1 Grand Prix at Azerbaijan, and it's John Lindberg. Just noticing, you have a look at the different safety ratings on this on these drivers. You'd think by being in the... Maybe we should make a prerequisite that F1 drivers have to have an S rating, but I don't think that's... we do a lot of sprint mode in our off time, so that does tend to kill our rating a little bit, so... that's unfortunate, but yeah, it's a clash of the titans. The two championship contenders are going to go head to head here, and very soon I'll get Matt to run us through the TKA media starting grid for when they hit their formation lap. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit, Matt, but I'm sure that you'll be up to the task. We're just gonna wait for the drivers to now isolate what kind of strategy they have to do, what kind of plan. The tension gets, this is where the nerves come in. You're just thinking about what you're going to do. The people at the front are going to think about how I approach the start, how I'm going to get ahead of this guy at the start. The people at the back are just kind of going, I really hope that I can get through turn 1 without any damage or, avoid any accidents. And the people in the midfield are just going to be absolutely crapping themselves. So, anyway, Matt, without further ado, I'll put you in charge and leave you to run us through the TKA media starting grid for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
Alright, in P1 we have John Lindberg. In P2, Daniel Val. In P3, George Vanderberg. In P4, Alex Little. In P5, Eddie Bettenbaugh. In P6, Mackenzie Stewart. In P7, Melvin Strabaka. In P8, Nadir. In P9, March Trisandi. In P10, Matthias Bercelli. In P11, Joshua Law. And in P12, we got Mason Ward.
Not bad. Not bad for a first attempt. Most people actually struggle a little bit on the name, so you've been doing your homework, so well done. We'll keep you on for Austria onwards, but anyway. So we've seen the qualifying, we've seen everyone kind of take their perspectives on what kind of strategy they're going to run. Who do you think personally has made the best strategy call, and who do you think has pretty much had nothing to lose but to try and do something a bit different?
I want to say that Daniel has probably made a better call than John on the tires. George, I think he probably has nothing to lose, so he can pretty much go all out. But I want to say the two-stop is probably better here. I found yesterday my rear tires were going pretty quick. But we'll see. I know these guys are a little better than me at preserving their tires as well, so... kind of hard for me
I think you're being a little modest there, to be honest. I mean, these guys know how to be quick, but preservation, I'd say if it was down to a preservation state, Alex Little's probably in the box seat for that, because he definitely knows how to look after his tyres. Probably a little better than the likes of Daniel Vale and George Vanderbrug, but it's going to be an interesting telling point for that. The two soft runners of Matthias Vercelli and Joshua Law, they'll be an interesting telling point, but they have to kind of make... The disadvantages of running the soft tyre is that, of course, they're qualified second and third to the back, and the likeliness of the first turn mayhem is quite strong. So you don't necessarily... You play a strategy game to the point of not treating it like a first lap situation, because you break your front wing, your strategy's out the window. So they're going to have to hope that they get out of this first lap in one piece. So we're going to wait for the lights to build up. The lights will build up, and then there'll be a pause as they draw up the engine revs. We'll be waiting for a time to go. It's lights out, away we go for the F1 Grand Prix here at Azerbaijan. It looked like it was actually a really good start by John But Daniel Vales, George Vanderbrug's been completely spun around by someone in the back here. There's a huge pile-up of cars through the whole system. And it looks like, I don't know who it was that hit him so much, but it looks like Stuart McKenzie's made the best start of everyone to move up to P3. George has been the biggest loser.
No.
But, yeah, that was interesting. Who hit him? I couldn't tell. And actually, in saying that, Vicelli have made up so much ground through all this. Mason Ward, who started at the back of the field, is P5 right now. And Alex Little has actually been caught up in all this too. He's down in P13, back in P10. I wonder if it was him that hit Jaws. But yeah, that was very interesting. All you see was a McLaren fully sideways. In fact, his teammate Melvin was actually caught up in the instant too, because he ended up actually parked at the pit lane. So, very interesting circumstances here. But Daniel Vale had the best start, kind of gave John a bit of a push out of the way, and that's probably what distracted me a little bit. Oh, and we've lost March already. March, that's... And Melvin takes extreme avoidance to... But that, I'd say March must have had front wing damage, and then couldn't turn the car. In fact, Nadia's got a whole lot of front wing damage himself, so he'll want to be careful coming through the high-speed section himself. And he's running a different number too. That's interesting. I thought he would have been running his normal 689. In fact, I think Joshua Law's running that too, so a few number penalties might be coming into perspective, but okay, so the report that I have heard is that Melvin Stulbaka drove into the back of Alex Little, and then Alex Little, as a result, has driven into the back of George Vanderbrug. So it's a Constantina effect started by George's own teammate. And I don't think... And George won't be...
disappointing for them.
Oh, George will not be happy about that one bit. And, of course, his initial attempt will be to blame Alex first for that. But, of course, we've got... It looks like we've got the evidence to prove from a few people that have actually managed to catch the incident more than what we have. Has managed to conclude that there was a Constantina effect caused by... Melvin getting into the back of Alex, and those two have had a bit of history, Melvin and Alex. And so, you know, Alex and Melvin have had a bit of history in the past few races in GP2 last season that caused a few headaches. Now Daniel's getting a bit weavy on the straight, trying to break the slipstream from John's car, but at the moment he's got just under over a half a second lead over John, with McKenzie a further 1.9 seconds back, and Addy Bettenbauer's made a good start as well to be position 4. He's made a position from the start, but the biggest winners today have been Mason Ward and Matthias Vicelli, who've both come up from 12th and 11th on the grid, or 12th and 10th on the grid to be positions 5 and 6. So Mason's been the biggest beneficiary from all this. The biggest loser has definitely been Alex Little and George Vanderbrug. They're both a lot further back down than they would. On a championship perspective, though, the top two in the championship, well, the first equal cars on the championship are 1 and 2 on the field, and then third in the championship is currently in position, actually down the order in position 9, so McKenzie is 4th in the championship, but he'll get a bit of a boost from this and will move to 3rd ahead of his teammate. Addy Bettenbauer's gone off at the castle section, and he's had the right presence of mind to get on the reverse gear, and he's going to have to be patient here if people are coming through, which it doesn't look like he does have to, but Addy will be disappointed about that one, Matt.
Oh yeah, it was kind of like Ludwig yesterday.
Oh, we've got a huge moment here. We've got a Ferrari, we've got Alex Little and Melvin Stulbaka all caught up at turn 2. sorry to interrupt you there, but yeah, Alex Little caught up in another incident, and it looks like it was caused by Melvin again and Nadir Ziad, so something's really happened there, unless Alex had a moment and then it just caused an effect from it. But yeah, Alex will be just completely ropeable. And mate, oh, here we go, move up the inside here, Matthias down the inside of Mason Ward. So anyway, we'll go back to your point. So what were you saying there, Matt?
Oh, with Addy, he got a little luckier than Ludwig yesterday.
Ah, yes, of
Coming
course.
up from the castle. I really felt bad for that guy.
I think we all did, especially given that we were giving him such a rap, and then and he almost lost it through the pit lane as he was coming in.
Oh man!
And that pit lane is quite treacherous in the way that you've got to slow down so much, but you don't want to lose ground to anyone around you. So it's really a do or die situation when it comes to this pit lane. And I don't think they changed his front wing. I'll have a look on board and just.
Well, he's got a whole wing.
Yeah. No, it does look like it. It just didn't look like. I just didn't see the animation of the wing being changed. Now here comes Melvin down the inside of Nadir Ziad, so that's a positional change. Does Nadir respond? No, he doesn't, but he'll have DRS on. He does have DRS on Melvin, and he's going to have another go. So Melvin getting a little defensive. Nadir down the inside, brakes lock up, and Nadir, beautiful move down the inside to get the position back. So a good battle here between the two drivers. They have obviously at some point gotten back into contact with each other. Now the gap at the front hasn't actually changed too much, and even with DRS, John hasn't been able to really put a mark on Daniel's lead. So we'll have a look here. So we're going to ride on board with John right now and see what the straight line speed of his car versus Daniel's is, and you can quite blatantly see that Daniel has quite a lot of straight line deficit there. So as the leader of the pack, you do get a bit of an advantage in controlling the pace. So John will be just trying his hardest to make a move on that, while Mackenzie's just playing damage limitation, and he doesn't like this track, and he's probably fighting a bit of a hangover himself. So and I say himself because I'm fighting a bit of one myself. So yeah, it was a big night last night, so feeling the after effects of it anyway in some small regards. But yeah, the battling's starting to condense a little bit. Mason's lost a fair bit of ground to Matthias Vicelli, but Matthias is also quite a fair way back from the lead of the field. He's actually 14 seconds off the lead, so I think come strategy he could be well positioned now that he's actually managed to get away from all the battling that happened at the start. Whether or not he got front wing damage from that aftermath, I don't know. Joshua Law's kind of the same, but I would have thought that if they did have damage, they would have come in pretty early. He's already lost a spot to George Vanderbrug, so George is on the flyer, trying to recover what...
Joshua Law just clipped the wall coming up to the castle.
He has too, so there is a bit of damage there. Eddie Bettenbauer will be very disappointed that he's just thrown away an eventual P4 finish, unless the front runners had an off. In fact, we've just lost. Okay, yep. So Josh has just done what I think he's done. We'll just see where he's done it. I would imagine it would be, there's a yellow flag up here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go, curb corner. So, yep, he's obviously grabbed too much curb, and it's flung him straight into the fence. Now, usually this would be where a safety car would come out, but of course, this game doesn't influence safety cars. So, actually, these battling guys are not too far off from Eddie Bettenbauer either. So, Eddie's just coming down the back straight now, and Alex Little is just going to join him in a second. So, yeah, there could be a bit of a battle brewing. And then the other two of Melvin and Nadir are not too far back from them either. Now, Daniel's managed now to pull out a gap of 1.8 seconds to John. So, John's tyres now will be starting to feel the effects of the tyre wear, because he is actually losing ground to Mackenzie as well. And the overall gap has dropped quite a bit. So 14 seconds was the gap between... Oh no, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Oh, we got another yellow flag, sector 1. It's Melvin Stulbarker again. So Melvin's had it off at turn 2, which is quite tricky. As I said to you yesterday, you were having a bit of trouble at turn 2 yourself in the F3 race. So what is it? What is it about turn 2 that seems to catch a lot of people out?
For me personally, I just keep missing the braking points. I don't know why. It just feels like I can't hit it at the right spot.
But yet people can manage to get through turn 1 almost somewhat easier. Is it because there's more room for error at turn 1 than turn 2, or is it just because turn 1 is a bit more quicker?
Turn 2 is pretty tight compared to turn 1. You have a little leeway if you get out wide. Turn 2, it kind of seems like it narrows down as you turn in. And the wall is right there, so it's either put it in the wall or take the
escape road, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and I was just saying, John Lindbergh's just earned himself a 5-second stop go for spinning pits, and now he's actually just given turn 3's wall a rub, and it looks like he has lost a bit of his front wing in the process, so it's starting now to crumble a little bit for our championship points leader, well, our combined championship points leader. And it was good to be in the frame of mind to do it now. So Matthias Vicelli is now P3 because of all this, and now that John's broken his front wing, he might come under a bit of threat here from not only being undercut by these people, but he'll also come under siege a little bit by Mason Ward. So John's looking to do the one stop from here on the soft tyre. Now that's 19 laps. It could happen, but he will be very hard pressed on grip by the end of the race with everything going on. And yeah, a lot of people are now starting to think that Matthias is in a very good position. If he can hold it together, I think he's on course for his first podium of the season. A race win could be a little bit out of the question unless Mackenzie and Daniel have an altercation or a moment, but it looks like both of those two are currently strong on the front. So John will be struggling now a little bit with the broken front wing. I would imagine he's only done it enough to be a nuisance. And Mason is making ground on him slowly, and George is actually making ground on Mason quite significantly as well. And now we've got a battle here between Eddie Bettenbauer and Alex Little, and Nadir's lost a bit of ground to these guys too, so Nadir and Melvin are not having the greatest races this weekend, and Alex will be absolutely livid with what's happened, as he's now right on the back of Eddie Bettenbauer. He won't make a move here, but he'll definitely size himself up for a move at turn 3, so we'll keep an eye on this. In fact, we'll ride on board with Alex Little and see what he does. So he gets on the gas, coming into turn 2, activates the DRS. Let's see what straight line speed that Merc has over the Toro Rosso Honda power. And actually, Eddie's got quite a bit of straight line speed versus Alex, so it looks like Alex is going to need to set himself up better for the final sector if he wants to try and get him close enough to establish a move on Eddie there. So actually John has actually still, despite the front wing damage, has actually started to pull the gap out from Mason as well. So it doesn't look like it looks like the front wing damage.
Nice move.
Oh, down in the
right
car.
before the castle.
Oh, and Eddie's gone into the fence there, so I wonder if he was just a little off place there. I don't know if he actually grabbed the fence or whether he just missed it in. It doesn't look like he's got damage, but yeah, I missed it. So Alex must have gone up the inside at the hairpin just before the castle section, must have pulled it off quite nicely, and then Eddie must have been just a little bit trying to figure out what to do from there, and must have missed his braking.
Yeah, it kind of looked like Alex pulled a little switchback on him. Stopped a little sooner.
Okay, so George is in. George is back
right
in, and he's got a front wing change again. So George has obviously grabbed the wall again somewhere, and it's cost him another front wing change. But luckily, he's got enough of a gap at the moment to be able to come out ahead of Alex Little. So he has been... that was pretty much a free stop for him. He has now lost over 30 seconds to Mason Ward. But in saying that, it's... Oh, and Mason's actually just made a mistake at the castle section. Just as I say that, he's just had to grab the brake. Oh, and he spun it! He's grabbed too much acceleration. He's going to now have to do a 5 or 6 point turn. This is going to block the track. Oh, and did he just get grabbed by someone? Or did he... That just looked like he got grabbed. Oh, he would have probably done the reset to track, so yeah, Mason, to avoid a potential block on the track, has opted to reset to the track and carry on that way, and he's grabbed the fence again. No. So what was a good start for Mason's now is just starting to slowly crumble into despair as he tries to now get his way back to the Sector 1 incident. Melvin Stabaka again, turn 2. And it's a skateboard again, and I think he's just been put a lap down by... Actually, he's been well since put a lap down. I think actually that was Mackenzie that might have put a lap on him. Or Matthias. And John's actually come in through... Oh no, sorry, he was already in anyway. What was I thinking? Anyway, so Mason now in from position 5. I think he's actually... So that 30-second gap that I mentioned is now gone. So just like that, George is now back up to P5. Alex will now move up into P6. And maybe even... Where's Mason? So yeah, even... Oh, this could be tight actually. This could be really on for young and old. Let's see. So Eddie comes around the last bend. Mason is... Nah, Mason's actually managed to clear Eddie. Not convincingly, but enough to be in a position to strike now. Eddie didn't pit in that stop, but Nadir has managed to make up 3 seconds. So Nadir's actually having quite a good race and might be able to bag some points for the Ferrari team, while his teammate is currently up front to the tune of 7.7 seconds over Mackenzie Stewart. Now, in yesterday's F3 race, we weren't seeing very many laps on the super soft tyres as we hoped. So 10 laps so far for our race leader and second place. I would imagine they'll be in probably 2 more laps time. And then whether or not they go, whether they go to the ultras or whether they go to the softs for the end, I don't know. It's hard to say, but definitely a good comeback drive from Jules Vanderbrug. So definitely one of the candidates, as well as Matthias Vicelli, that could be on the candidate for driver of the day for today. If Matthias can just keep the gap where it is now, he'll have definitely much more fresher tyres than John Lindberg, as George now does the fastest lap of the race with a 141.5. Alex Little behind George by 9 seconds. So George now 33 seconds behind John Lindberg, and I'm just hoping that every time I say that, it doesn't cause someone to go have an off at the castle section. So I'd be quite unfortunate although I'd be saying that all the time in F2 if that was the case, and hope that everyone else went off for the castle section so I could win, but that's not something I want to say publicly, but I did anyway. But got a pretty decent battle here starting to brew up between Mason Ward, Eddie Bettenbell, and I suppose you could probably throw Nadir Ziat into that battle as well, because Nadir's only 3 seconds behind Eddie. And then we've got to change for a lead here, and that's because Daniel is now in. Soft tyres for Daniel, and Mackenzie's actually just had a really massive moment coming out of turn 1, where he's grabbed too much acceleration, and the result of it, I mean, he nearly flew into the turn 2 wall. Well, the exit of the pit wall. So Daniel's only come out 1 second behind Matthias, so that's going to be costly in the slightest of sense. So if he can't get around his soon-to-be well, actually this will be interesting, because Matthias does go to Ferrari by Hungary, so these two are going to be teammates in the not too distant future. So will Matthias play the Honda game, which is to try and bag as many points as he can for the team, or will he play the Ferrari game and let his soon-to-be future boss through to cement himself a place in his team? Right now, it actually looks like Daniel hasn't been able to get the tyres up to temp as quickly as he would like, because he's actually managed to lose a bit of time in this lap alone, and that's by the cold tyre effect. And Jules van der Brugge, oh no, sorry, that must have been Melvin. That must be, yeah, that's Melvin between those guys, so. Eddie keeping Mason a little honest at the moment. Now, we're just going to see, does Mackenzie react to the stop by Daniel, or does he try and push these tyres out longer to have a bit of a fresher tyre effect? I would say he's coming in. Almost. I think he was very hard pressed to get on the speed limit there, so there goes Matthias, there goes Daniel. Where's John in all this? So John will actually keep the... Actually, John's convincingly made the undercut work there for that perspective. So who do you think the top performer's been so far today, Matt?
I would have to say Matthias. He's keeping it clean, staying out of trouble, and actually up 9 spots. So I would probably have to say Matthias has ran a pretty good race.
Yeah, so you can see here now on the view, on the display, the drivers' positional changes. So the biggest winner has been Matthias. The biggest loser has actually been, currently at the moment, Adi Bettenbauer and Melvin Stubaka both sit equal on the most positions lost of 3. Mason Ward's made up 5 spots, so he runs second on the most positions gained. And then Stuart McKenzie, or Mackenzie Stewart's gone up 2 positions from the start. So he's gone from 6th to 4th. Of course, he was 3rd as effect of the all the crashes that happened now. Nadir Ziyat's actually the first driver I know at the moment that's given himself a 3-second time penalty for multiple incidents. There was the 5-second stop-go penalty for John for speeding in pit lane, which he hasn't served. So whether or not he's going to serve the rest of his tyre stops and do a 5-second stop go is going to be the interesting telling point. Whether he'll pit again, do the 5-second, get him fresh tyres, and then try and carve his way through, or will he just finish the race, try and finish ahead, 5 seconds ahead? Or we've just lost Melvin. Oh, whoa.
Oh no.
How did you lose it? How do you lose it there of all places? Have we got anyone coming through? No. Oh yeah, we've got Jules van der Brugge coming through. Well, let's ride on board and see that in depth. Keep going. No, the car's moved, but right in the middle of the track, just before pit entry. How do you lose it there? That's unbelievable. So 9 drivers left on the field, and we've just gone over half race distance. So unfortunately, the drivers that have not finished the race will not score points today, even if they finish in the top 10. Through 23 laps is 90% race distance. Well, 23.4 actually is the defined number, but of course we can't dictate that by anything. Now, Adi Bettenbauer in from position, well, it was position 8. He's come in for another front wing change. Yeah. Anyway, just bringing a comment or two. So Matthias is now in from the lead, and he should jump onto a fresh set of super soft tyres, I would imagine. 14 laps on the softs. I'm not sure whether that... I wouldn't say that he's probably... Now that's interesting. Why is he serving a 5-second stop-go penalty? Let's have a look. So
I didn't
Matthias...
see anything in the race director.
No, neither did I. I'm trying to figure that out myself. Let's have a look at the race director and see if I can... No, there's nothing here. So there's a collision with Sarah May and then an exceeded track limits, but that's the only thing that comes up on the race director as to why he would have served a 5-second stop-go penalty. So that cost him a fair bit of time, but in saying that though, well, this has effectively cost him the lead cost him the race victory, but that's interesting. I couldn't see anything in there that suggested that he had a 5-second stop-go penalty to serve.
Or was this just another Cody's problem?
Well, no, see, the Cody's problem works at the end of the stop. It serves the stop, then you get held. So, that's interesting. Although it wouldn't surprise me if it was a Cody's glitch. I'll definitely ask Matthias at the end of the race in prep-ups for F2 as to what could have been the issue there. But that's cost him a lot of time, and I'd say be very disappointed about that. And Daniel now retains the lead of the race from John Lindbergh, so even with that damage, John's been able to pace his car out and deliver the coup de grace in the undercut strategy, because he's managed to pull out 7 seconds on Mackenzie Stewart. In saying that, Matthias does still have a shot at the podium, given that he's only 7 seconds behind Mackenzie on. Although in saying that, that's only a 3-lap difference in tyre strategy, so it might not.
Yeah, Mackenzie's tires will probably have a little more life left than Owen. Oh.
Yeah, a little bit more, because he has got 3-lap softs versus Matthias's 1-lap supers. But in saying that, there is a bit of a rapid drop in pace, so Mackenzie, I think, is starting to mount a challenge a little bit on John, but Matthias is starting to mount a challenge back on Mackenzie as well. So Alex hasn't been able to recover too much from his first lap incident, and probably will have to settle for a P6 finish, unless of course we have a safety car or any of the front markers in front have an off, which would be everyone apart from Matthias would be a championship changing ramification. So Alex is going to have to probably concede the idea he's going to lose third in the championship to his teammate, and will have to rethink his actions or rethink his strategy going into Austria next weekend. And of course, big news pertaining a few things that I think I should probably address now that I didn't address yesterday. The Transnation Formula 1 will be going on holiday as of the end of the Austrian Grand Prix. So we resume proper racing on January the 5th, or whatever the first weekend of January is. We have a 3-week break. We initially were meant to race on December the 30th, but we have voted to get rid of that and push every race forward a bit so that we can enjoy a 3-week break. However, on the 23rd of December, the Sunday, at 10 a.m. New Zealand Standard Time, we are hosting a special Christmas Sprint Mode Championship, where we're going to live stream a Christmas catastrophe extravaganza, crashes, fails, people deliberately trying to take others out. It's going to be a hoot, and of course it's going to be live streamed in 3 perspectives. So the channel will have 3 videos, one that will be hosted by myself, the other that will be hosted by Matthew Clevy, and the other that will be hosted by Mackenzie Stewart. So you'll have 3 perspectives from 3 different party chats as we tackle the 24 circuits in 3-lap heated races with no rules, simulation damage, and last man standing wins, basically. So stay tuned for that in a couple of weeks' time. Of course, we still do have the Austrian Grand Prix to get through before all that takes place. And we just had a moment here for George Vandenberg. I just managed to catch him on board his nose cone, giving the wall of the castle section another scrap of orange papaya paint. So George having quite a horrid run after qualifying so well, and then of course being subsequently spun around at the first turn by Alex Little, who was hit in the rear by Melvin. So And Matthias now sets the fastest lap of the race on his things. Oh, and George is...
Oh.
Why is it every time I go off someone's car, they retire? Oh, that's an interesting spot for George to go there, and that's going to promote Alex up to P5. But as I said, Matthias does the fastest lap of the race. He's now within 4 seconds of Mackenzie, but Mackenzie is also 4 seconds within a shot at position 2. So, and I think if that happens, I think we'll see a change in second in the championship as well. Daniel's going to take a 7-point lead going into Austria if things remain as they are, with Mackenzie likely to jump up into third ahead of his teammate. But yeah, that's disappointing for George. I would have thought he would have kept his car considerate so he could get in the pit lane and salvage some points. So unfortunately for George, that's going to be a big fat 0 next to his name as well. But all this is actually promoting Nadir Ziad up. So Nadir is currently in a position, if he can keep it on the track and keep it together, where he could score his best result of the season, which will be PA. His best result so far has been a position 11 in the championship. So Nadir will be able to score some points, for some much needed points, in a bid to try and show people that yes, he's going to be demoted to Haas next at the midpoint of next season, or this season, but he still wants to show people that he's quick. And there's actually quite a bit of engine smoke coming out of the back of his car. I don't think it's a terminal issue, but it's quite interesting.
I'm sure Daniel will be pleased with his finish too if he keeps it going.
Oh,
His constructors' points.
and it'll be good for his championship game, and he'll be also the second driver this season to score, be a multiple race winner. So John, of course, took that glory last weekend at the Canadian Grand Prix, where he became the first driver in F1 to go have multiple race wins, and the first driver to go back-to-back as well. So Daniel looking to rectify that. He was on course for a back-to-back win in Bahrain and France, but of course then a steward's appeal came in from Mackenzie Stewart to get a 5-second stop-go penalty removed from his time after a pit lane glitch, which was seen to be in favour of Mackenzie, which then gave Mackenzie his first win of the season, and Daniel had to settle for position 2. So Daniel's been in a really strong position all year, apart from Australia and China, where, of course, Australia he had the indignity of starting at the back after a qualifying crash, and then was subsequently then taken out by his own teammate in the last few laps of the race, but was still deemed to finish for position 10, so still bagged a point, and then struggled through China. But from Bahrain onwards, he's always been in the top 3. Of course, with his race win at Bahrain there, he's been in the top 3 ever since. And we've got another yellow flag somewhere, sector 1, and it's Addy Bettenbauer again. So Addy's had another moment. I think he's just managed to let Daniel through, so that's good news there. But Addy's now under threat, or slowly becoming more and more under threat from Nadir Ziyad. So Nadir's showing he's showing pretty decent pace actually, Nadir, and with the knowledge of him going to Haas in the midpoint of the season to be replaced by another driver, what would your mindset be going into these last few races as a Ferrari driver?
I would say it's probably a relief. Maybe like you getting a different start, so you just go out there and try your best. I mean, not a lot of pressure, sort of thing. That's how I would see it.
Well, I mean, you are sitting in the Scarlet Red Ferrari, you are representing the Tifosi, you are representing the rich heritage that Ferrari does hold, so you would be given the highest expectations to give. And got another sector 3, is that? No, it's another. Oh, it's no, it's Matthias. So Matthias has had an off at the castle section, and he's lost his front wing, so that's devastating there for Matthias. So that's going to be a front wing change, and
Mackenzie's catching John too.
He is too. So there could be a battle here. In fact, oh my goodness me, that's a huge thing there. And has Matthias gone off again? He's gone off at the curb corner. So so he might lose position 4 and 5 to Alex and Mason, although Mason's quite a fair bit back himself, so he might actually be safe from Mason. Alex, on the other hand, is a different story. So Alex could slowly now bring his way back up to driver of the day status with his drive from the back of the field back up to P4. And it'll also limit the damage to the championship as well. So Alex will be kind of relieved that all this is taken forward, but it's not good news for... Oh, and he's missed the pit lane entry. And he's gone. And that's unfortunate. That is very, really heartbreaking. To miss the pit lane entry. And that's a devastating... And a virtual safety car has been launched. Now, what's going to happen here? People here... Alex Little's... Oh yeah, Alex is blinking. So Alex is getting off these tyres. And why wouldn't you? It's a free pit stop. You get a free kick. So he's going on the ultras. Who else is going to blink to this? All the top 4... Well, the top 3 have missed pit lane entry. And also, okay, so the pit, actually that kind of hurt Alex a little tiny bit in the way that the virtual safety car ended as he was coming out of pit lane, so he has lost some time. Now, what Mackenzie needs to understand is that John does have a 5-second stop-go penalty that he has not served, so he will get a 5-second time penalty at the end of the Grand Prix. So Mackenzie doesn't have to necessarily be overly aggressive to make a move. Of course, he is going to probably try and do it anyway because, actually they've just simultaneously grabbed the fence, and that's actually hurt John's run, and he's got it done easy. Does John try and fight back? No, John is wise to that and just decides to back it off and consolidate. He's got P3 consolidated, so top 3 in the championship, top 3 on the track at the moment. Daniel Vale, to the tune of 12.5 seconds, is just probably backed it off, probably dropped it. Let's have a look at his telemetry. Yeah, he's not running much ERS, he's just backed it off. He's just consolidating his position. He's got a gap, he doesn't need to push too hard. So now the question I want to know more so is that, has Mackenzie turned the wick up and that's why he was able to catch up to John, or was John conserving because of the front wing damage?
Well, probably a little of both. I know Mackenzie's down on the points right now, so I would just want to get some back.
He is going to have to... John will have to succeed. That this is going to cost him a bit in the championship. He's going to lose the championship lead to Daniel Vale, who's going to take maximum points unless something happens. His teammate's going to take a P7 finish, which is the best result for him since he started the Transnation Formula 1 World Championship, so that's a good result from him. Oh, he almost just about ate his words there, but he only needs to complete... Oh no, he's a lap behind, so he does need to complete another lap before he's deemed as a classified. Eddie Bettenbauer will be highly disappointed that his teammates out of the race and that he hasn't been able to capitalise on his great start to be position 4, and he'll be distorted at the fact that he threw away a good position and could still necessarily lose 6 if he's not careful, because Nadir has actually started to gradually catch him, but at the same time Nadir is now going to get blue flags from, I think it was Mackenzie Stewart. So, oh, and John's in, so John's actually come in to serve his 5-second stop go and change his tyres. So okay, so I didn't click on that, but I suppose it makes sense. You've lost the position, you've lost you've got a 5-second, you've still got to serve, so you might as well just serve it, get on fresh tyres, and probably in this case go for the fastest lap. So nothing yet from Alex as to fastest lap territory. We're about to see now as he crosses the line. I'd say he's going to do it, and he does. So 1 minute 39.8, which is actually reasonably quick for... That's qualifying. That's actually qualifying time that Alex has just put on the table there. So that's not too bad. And Mason Ward's done a good job. I think actually Mason's probably now gone into driver of the day status with his drive, currently P5. And although yes, it is third from the back, it's still 5 positions up from when he started, or 11 places up from where he started. And often criticised as not as quick as the likes of his teammate who still didn't attend a race. Of course, we do know that there's a reason for that, and I have actually forgotten about that, but that doesn't matter. 7 places he's made from the start. Sorry, there's a bit going on in the background for me, but either way. So Mackenzie Stewart's now just made a move on. Oh, Mackenzie's just made a mistake at turn 2. Beautiful shot there of Mackenzie missing the apex at turn 2 and having to take the escape road slightly. But he does have roughly about a 31-second lead over John Lindbergh, so he can afford to make these mistakes every now and again, but at the same time he doesn't want to be doing them too much to the point where he grabs the fence and puts it in the fence. So we've only got 2 laps left to run here, and Daniel Vale looking to consolidate his 2nd win of the season, and of course will extend his championship points advantage to 7 points heading into the Austrian Grand Prix. Mackenzie Stewart looks like he's could be set to try and mount a challenge for 2nd in the championship with his 2nd place finish, and Alex Little will be just hoping that the top 3 have an off or have a mistake or something like that, so he can reap the results. But of course now all drivers are now pretty much within the 90% rule, so any driver that DNFs now will be classified as a finisher. So points will be distributed to these drivers if they do not finish the race. And right now we're about to watch Daniel Vale, who's just cruising slightly, still giving us a bit of a show, bit of a drift show. And if you were to make a prediction right now based on the drives of today, who do you think would be the top driver to win the championship?
Based on what I've seen, probably Daniel Vale. He just is consistent, and those harder compounds, it's hard to beat him. Because then you know if he comes out on a softer, you probably won't have the pace to keep up with him.
And he does seem to have that just natural ability, and it's something that I was talking to Guy about, talking about the drivers about throughout the week. He started in the Trans Nation, back when it was a Trans Nation Challenge, back quite early in the piece, probably about Azerbaijan this time last season in the GP2 category, and he did have a few quite abolishing races, not the best that he would have openly admitted to. He's still young, he's only 14 or 15 years old, so he's definitely showing these older drivers how it's done, but by the end of the GP2 season he was definitely the top gunner, and a lot of people reckon that if he had the pace at that point when he started, he would have been he's come into this season looking to be the top gunner for F1, and he's definitely proving that with the outstanding drives that he's had all season long, and he's now going to begin the final lap of what has been quite an exciting and tantalising Azerbaijan Grand Prix for F1. I thought F3 was quite exciting in the amount of crashes and incidents and championship changing ramifications, but this race has kind of equalled it, if not taken the cake a little bit more. And of course we've still got a few corners left to go, so I don't want to be throwing the congratulations too early in the piece, but it's still looking like it's going to be another Ferrari domination effect. Of course, Ferrari did win. Oh, Daniel, come on, don't do that to me. Ferrari did take victory in the F3 race in the F3 standings with a 1-2 finish for Liam West and Ryan Connolly, taking a 1-2 finish. Today Ferrari are going to mark a second win of the weekend, and that's giving them a lot of confidence heading into the F2 race, which will be in 2 hours time. So Daniel Vale will round what we like to call the last turn, and it's been a complete juggernaut here by the Ferrari driver. from pole position, well, from second on the grid, denied pole position by John Lindbergh, who was quick on the ultras, but it wasn't enough. He won the start at the beginning of the race, and he's controlled the pace from the end. Daniel Vale will go and take his second win of the season and wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Great job there by the Ferrari driver.
It's a great race by him.
And Mackenzie Stewart will come home for position 2 from 6 on the grid. So a good result there by Mackenzie. And then, of course, John Lindbergh, who looked quite strong to be in position. A few mistakes, the 5-second stop-go penalty and the front wing damage. But he's going to bring it home for third and consolidate points. And while the race concludes, we're going to invite our top 3 drivers into the lobby and have a word with them about their race today. So definitely driver of the day, I think, belongs to Mason Ward. From the back of the field to position 5, what a great drive there by the young New Zealander. So Mason Ward's my definite vote for driver of the day today. We've just sent the invites out to the drivers for our broadcast interview. Eddie Bettenbauer will come home in position 6, and Nadir Ziyat will record his best result of P7. So Ferrari will score some decent points for today's race. So we're going to grab a chance to talk to the drivers. Hopefully we'll be able to get them all in order. We've got Mackenzie now just coming into the commentary box at the moment. We'll just wait and see if the other guys come out just as Mason concludes his race. I don't think we will get them in time. So anyway, Mackenzie Stewart, if you can hear us, congratulations on a P2 finish, 6 on the grid. So it didn't look like your qualifying was pretty strong, but it looks like at the end of the day, a few incidences, a few upsets, and a couple of other instances has managed to bag you second overall. So well done.
Thanks for that, Brett. Congrats to Daniel and John. They both drove exceptionally well. Daniel's just on another planet today. His pace was just outstanding. The Ferraris really come strong in the last few rounds, and I reckon it'll be a good fight for the rest of the season. In terms of our race, it was just basically just making sure we finished, making sure we kept our noses clean, and making sure we brought home as many points as we could. Going to Austria for next week.
And of course, it's been, fighting all these kind of instances. The first lap incident between Alex and George, which was also compounded by Melvin, we've come to learn everything's come into play. So congratulations. John Lindbergh will grab you for a second. Position 3, pole position, which is, your third straight pole position. So you've taken a mantle there. You've equalled Daniel on the most poles for the season. So you're still fighting the heavyweights in the battle for wins, and you're now equal on the most wins and the most poles, so that's a good feat. Lost the start to Daniel, but then a 5-second stop-go penalty. Not that it really would have hurt you too much in the long run, but it looks like you grabbed the wall on your outlap, and that's what hurt you.
Yeah, first, like my own mistakes, it was on the outlap, cold softs locked up into a turn, and great a bit of wing up, so just try to stay out and see what would happen. But once Mackenzie got through and there was a big gap down to Alex, just as well go to pit, get that 5-second stop go out of the way, and just drive more comfortably for the last few laps.
And it looked like you were trying to go for the fastest lap. Unfortunately, that didn't really happen, but either way...
Not really, it was more about comfort there.
So either way, you now trail...
For the start of the race, it was... It was pretty alright, actually, but Daniel did a little pump to pass and got past, and I kept with him for the entire first stint, but it was waving on every straight, so I couldn't get close to him to get a pass, so...
Well, either way, congratulations on P3, and you're still in the championship hunt heading to Austria. Daniel Vale, congratulations, you are now a multiple race winner for this season. It just looks really easy for you out there.
No, it wasn't easy. I could control the pace because I overtook John in the start. Probably, I think that was a crucial move for the race. Because then I had to tried to broke the slipstream and was really difficult. I couldn't go as fast as I wanted until he did his pit stop.
And you've also helped Ferrari cement basically an almost near perfect weekend. Of course, Ferrari won the F3 race, so you've ticked another box by winning the F1 race. So hopefully the F2 drivers can come in, and then Ferrari can try and make it 3 from 3. So well done for that. Well done to the 3 drivers. Matt, you got anything you want to add?
I'm just in awe of Daniel's skill right now. He's put together.
And definite driver of the day today goes to Mason Ward for a brilliant drive from the back of the field to position 5. Managed to avoid most of the carnage. Of course, he did make the mistake at the castle section, which almost blocked the track if he didn't reset. So, heartbreak for Matthias Vicelli. Such position. He was so strong looking. Could have been on the podium today, but a mistake which then compounded him to miss the pit entry and hit the wall. Very disappointing for him, and I'm sure for a few others as well. Great result by Nadir Ziyat to finish in position 7, his best finish of the season, and that kind of sets a precedence for how his transition to Haas at the mid-season. He's going to try and leave Ferrari on a high. He's definitely ticked the box there for me, in my opinion. So thanks for watching today, guys. This has been the F1 broadcast for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix Round 8 of the championship. Stay tuned for F2, which will be in 2 hours' time, where I take on the track with many other drivers looking to take top spot. How it'll play out, we won't know. So stay tuned for that broadcast in 2 hours' time. Till then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you again in Austria.